Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's the Jade Gemini. Today we're going to go to be taking a look at this guy right here. This is the Big Idea Designs Tactical Click Dual Side Button Release Pin in titanium. This is the full size one as well. So I'm going to be going over some of its features and build quality, talking about what I like, what I love, what I dislike, and if it applies, what is rubbish about this pen right here. First though, before we do that, let's get some size comparisons out of the way. So the first thing I'm going to use, because some people that might be watching this video might not be into all the everyday carry stuff, maybe is a little bit more just common, looking for a nice pen. So we're going to use a AA battery for that. Now for the ones that are into the everyday carry and have 100 other things, we're going to be taking a look at probably one of the knives that a lot of people have or have held. This is the Benchmade Buckout, sort of a common size everyday pocket knife. So with that out of the way, the size comparison, let me also get the thickness out of the way here. So it feels like a normal pen, honestly, right? Not too thick, not too thin. So pretty good there. So that all out of the way, let's go ahead and jump right in. So the first thing that I like about this pen is I like the overall design, actually quite a bit. I think that it's simple and it is straightforward. It has some bits and bobs to it that are interesting, like these little millings here, the sort of dual chamfer, reduction down into the plastic auto adjust collet is what I think it's called. This little chamfer right here for comfort, so it's not like a sharp abrupt edge, and just sort of simplified body. The chamfering around the button here, and sort of the different textures that they've used. Overall it's simplistic, but that also makes it sort of classic in design. Think of it kind of like what's something that's classic and simple, like the Porsche 911, right? Everything that you need, really nothing that you don't. So really, really great in that way. The next thing that I like about this is the pocket clip. Sort of. I'll talk about the stuff I don't like, but what I do like is as a pocket clip, it functions perfectly. It's simple, has this little tiny bend, and has this little tiny scoop. What this does is it makes it so easy, a breeze, to get into my back pocket where I carry my pens. I simply push it down, and from the head I push it in there, and just sort of use the edge of my nail to tuck it down really nice and tight. It has good retention, and it has really no sort of problems getting over different sort of pants materials. You don't want to be fussing and fighting and having to lift the pocket clip yourself and sort of scoot it over and it feels like it's tearing as it's going. None of that. This is just a good, wholehearted, simple pocket clip, right? So that's the next thing that I do like about this pen. The next thing that I do like a lot about the pen itself is the overall fit and finish. It is just pretty well done, to be honest. It has this nice, this version is the satin version. I sort of got it because I thought it looked a little bit more Parker Jotter, right? And a little less like, oh my God, I am blah, blah, blah. Not that there's anything wrong with Stonewash, right? I just didn't have the vibe to get something that's in this style. I like this style sometimes. I have knives in this style. I have this flashlight in this style. But I wanted something that looked a little bit more executive, right? I think is what I was trying to say. And a little less, I'm a woodsman explorer, right? Just for that, certain, day that I bought this, right? And in this version, it is really, really nice. So that's all the things that I do like about this pen. So let's kind of jump into what I love about this pen. The first thing, and the point that I really love, and I have sort of found out over time, is just the overall thought in engineering. Big idea design. The name sort of says it all. You have this expectation that with this pen, there's going to be a lot of thought, a lot of big ideas that they put into the design, and it is, right? The first thing is like I mentioned before, it has this plastic collet. I don't know if you can see it here. Try and have it focus here. Come on, flashlight. There we go. So it's this 4-way plastic preset collet that basically auto-adjusts and flares out when you put in different size pins. So this actually stops it from wiggling side to side, so you have a confident, writing experience without, really having to bother with different inserts. The next thing is that fact. Its main party trick is the fact that it has this adjustable, try and get it out here, it has this adjustable head and barrel that basically is able to take really long refills or really short refills. They say about 210 different refills can be put in this. And it comes with this Schmidt refill. Not really my favorite, right? This is a G2 size, Pilot G2. So I'd probably like something more like that, or I've looked in a lot of people like the Jetstream, so I think I'm gonna try that out. Not too bad. But, again, things like they have these 2 O-rings to make it not only where it does not come loose easily, at all, so it's not like it's going to come loose over time or have any problems, but it also makes it feel like robust and solid, not like this is sort of wiggling around and everything like that. Also, they have a rubber O-ring here, so this doesn't get marred up and scratched over time because it's just pushing against rubber instead of it going ahead and pushing against, bare metal and scratching up over time. So just different things that they've done that is smart, and then the way that it works to adjust it is so easy. You just click in the clicker to its seats, then you rotate here until it presents itself, and you kind of adjust how deep you want it. I think I kind of like it to be, a little bit poking out, so it's nicely seated. Yeah, and that's good to go, right? So that's cool. Really, really cool. They've thought of that. They also have a pocket clip that, if it bends, they come with a tool that will allow you to take this cap off and bend the pocket clip back, so you don't have to send it off for warranty. You can do it yourself. So just a lot of little things that they've thought of, and I think they even come with an O-ring for the inside of here in case it was to wear out over time, right? So that's another thing that I do like a lot about this pen. I also do like the fidget factor here. So the pen itself is able to, have a lot of fun clicking it over and over, which I think is something that, when you're buying a high-end pen like this, it's sort of important. As you can see with this, Tactile Turn Ultim pen that I have here, it's really fun to fidget, which we'll talk a little bit more about that. Just overall, the function, I think, the functionality of it, it works, right? You click down, you write something, you hit the button, and it releases. Again, you can also release it like this. You don't even have to be a lefty. You can use the back of this. There's just different ways to be able to do that, and it just adds a touch of convenience, right? As an action, it works. I've also clicked this down and sort of jammed it into some paper, boop, 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 did this, didn't come loose. Really, really nice, right? I love the fact that they've thought out all these sort of engineering and overall have brought something to the table that fills that need. If you were a pen enthusiast and you're a sort of writing instrument enthusiast, that is something to think about. Overall, can't really complain in that matter. That's what I love about the pen. So, unfortunately, brings me to the things that I don't like. Usually, I think I'm a little bit more positive when I come to my reviews, but with this one, there has been some negatives. Now, overall, this pen has impressed me, and definitely something that I do want to try their other pens out. But the first thing that I don't like about this pen is just something about the way it feels, right? I have to kind of remind myself that, hey, if you look at these sort of things, it's a cool instrument, right? It's good. Be glad you have this thing, right? Something about this just feels overproduced or like cheap, or not even cheap. It's like I can't put my finger on it, right? When you have the titanium tactile turn, right, it feels like this milled object, or even this Ultim one feels like this extreme milled object. You know, it's much more in that sort of realm of EDC enthusiast, like a solid billet of this, and then it was machined out, and it has the solid click and bang, and you know, the solidity of the pocket clip, right, and it just feels like it's dense, right? Well, this feels almost like if a company like Pilot or Bic said, hey, we're going to try to enter the premium space, right? So the thing about it is that I do like the fact that this is lightweight, but because it is lightweight, it feels a little bit on the more cheap side. So, for example, this, and also another thing I love is the warranty. Let me tell you about that really quick. So I got this, and it actually had a sharp edge down here and a misaligned sort of head to this barrel. So I messaged them, and I thought they're probably going to think I'm an idiot, you know, that I'm too obsessive about the tolerances, and just say, you know, go away. They sent me this, no questions, no cost. Where are we sending this, sir? Bang. I was blown away, right? So I have to give props to them. But it does show a perfect example of what I'm talking about. There's this plastic tubing that runs throughout the whole entire pin, instead of it being like, you know, some sort of high-end urethane. This just feels like, you know, again, sort of a Pilot G2 or whatever. And then it's like they've wrapped it in this really thin skin of titanium, right? It's not the same as a solid billet of material, whether it's Ultim or titanium, right? And then it's perfectly seamlessly done together, and, you know, you can't feel any creases, and you feel these little right? And it's not even that I'm like a fanboy about this design, right? It's just overall the sort of experience and the feel. You know, there's just like plastic components and pressed components. This cheapness also sort of feels like, in the same sort of way, like this pocket clip moves back and forth so easily, instead of this, which is titanium, and it's completely rigid. It feels completely solid. While this is like flexible, it's even bent, you know, this way from being in my pocket, so I've had to like push it back and sort of bend it the other direction, right? There's also a little bit of wiggle in the mechanism. It's lightweight, which is nice, but again, it just feels like some big name manufacturer, you know, made a pin. It's more mass produced than like something that is more like specialist limited production made, if that makes any sense, right? It's the only way I can kind of put it. The next thing that I don't like about the pin comes to the thing that should be the sort of top piece, which is the action, right, of this pin. So when you click it, it just sort of goes click, right? A Parker Jotter has a more clink clink and then ching ching, right? Which is this little cheapy, you know, pin. And the thing is, a Parker Jotter has stopped working over time, right? So, you know, again, this might just be more solid. When I first got it, it had that click, and I'm like, okay, I can live with that. And then it sort of had this really nice sort of long throw, and sort of almost like a Sabenza Smooth, where you had this long throw and click in. But I sort of noticed, like, on one side, this side was like smoother and had a shorter range and like this you know, long throw, and then this side had like, you had to go in deeper, I felt like, and felt like a little bit more tension. And so I was like, okay, you know, I kind of feel like both sides should feel identical, right? But then it's like the opposite happened. What happens now is it's like it's broke in. This is like hair trigger. You barely push it and it releases the button, while this side still has that really long throw, sort of almost like squishy, but in a good way, right? Like, a, you know, sort of nice, slow, long press. So it just completely feels like two separate Jekyll and Hyde, right? This is just, you barely touch it at all. It feels like almost like it gives a little, like a stage 1 trigger, and then the snap like a stage 2 trigger, but it doesn't feel it's in a way that is like good, like that would be on a rifle, right? It feels almost like, is this like a defective model? Because this side is nice and smooth and deep and sort of like goes off of a cliff after you get so deep in, while this, you barely touch it and it lets go. So again, it's just those sort of inconsistencies there. Again, you can do this, which I guess if that's what you're trying to do, but to me, I don't know, I'm just expecting a different level of quality, especially when you go into the next thing. When I bought this, it was priced right around its competitors, right? This, the TIE Scribe, so on and so forth. So I'm thinking when I buy this thing, cool, I'm having a American-made, piece of engineering in my pocket that's been well thought out, yada yada. And I have no qualms about anything that is made outside of the United States. I even made a video on why you shouldn't have qualms about things made outside the United States. One of my favorite lights are all made in China, right? One of my favorite knives, the BiD and the Civivi, is made out of China as well. So I don't care that this is made out of China, but if you are, then give us that price deduction. This is $100 pen, which so is this, and it just sort of feels like, unlike something like which is executed to the highest level of precision, right? It's not that there's anything super wrong about this as far as a functional item, but what we expect for that price is that sort of consistency again in the action. Nice noises when you actually initiate the, pin click, right? It's more solid feeling, dense titanium that feels not like a skin, right? That's like, not durable and, can scratch easy, but more like something that's like, yeah, this is a tough tool, right? These sort of things is why I'm paying $100 for a pen, and they just have missed that mark. I do like the design look of the pen, and even when you write, it just feels more like you're using a pen than like this solid billet thing that they've made into a pen, like it is with the Tactile turn products. It's just the cylinder that's made to a very high standard, while this feels more, again, like a pen does. So I do like that it's more executive, like I said. But again, just the problems that I've sort of, talked about. I mean, you can even drop this, and as you can see, it's such a light switch, it just disconnected the release here. And so it kind of makes me wonder, well, it's holding now, but is this gonna like just start coming loose? I don't know. If this was a solid piece of, titanium all the way through and you could see the different parts, or maybe it was, copper underneath to be a little bit more lubricated, or even like a urethane. I don't exactly know what I would change about this, but like I said, it just feels a little bit less quality, a little bit more cheap, is the only way I can say it, with the pocket clip and the inconsistent action, the plastic pieces looking like they just have skins of titanium over them. Rubbish wise, I mean, again, I would say that sort of maybe price point thing would be the rubbish part. If you're gonna give us a product like this, right, that is made out of China, then give us the benefits of of that. Also, well, that was really weird. I swear I just used that and it felt like it hung up for a second. Yeah, that was kind of odd. I pushed it and it felt like it actually hung up and I had to like go over something. It's never done that before. Okay. Well, anyways, sorry, I'm not trying to ham it up for the camera. I just didn't expect that at all. I mean, again, I'm sort of complaining about it, but I didn't actually think it'd ever be an issue with the action here. But anyways, sort of closing up on things, the rubbishness of that is again, if you're going to use something outside, that's fine, right? But give us that price discount. Make this $75 or $70 as well. You know what I mean? You are saving money when you're not making this, in the United States. It doesn't have to be made in the United States to be good, but we've seen other companies that make similar products. Yeah, it just feels oddly gritty all of a sudden. So, yeah, I don't know. Overall, I like the pen. I think it is a good pen. It's attractive, right? but I would like it a lot more if they fix these problems. It's led to a product that unfortunately I kind of regret getting, to be honest, which is a real shame because it does look really good and I dig the overall vibe and aesthetic of this. But, you know, again, it's just, I've used it. It has a little bit of scratching on the pocket clip, so it's not like I can just return it, right? I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I would love to see more products come to my hand. Maybe if I had the bolt version, or maybe if I had the standard click version, or maybe if I just had the screw cap version, it would be a completely different experience because it wouldn't have the qualms that I do with this button click system that they've made here. So, I don't know, maybe. I would love to get more products in their hand because I do overall like the way the company presents itself and also the sort of design. But yeah, I don't know. This one just sort of fell a little bit flat for me, which is really disappointing because this is their newest model after being a company for like a couple good years now. So yeah, I mean that's overall it. If you want to go ahead and give it a try, I don't think that it's terrible, but at the same point, it definitely doesn't have that sort of air of perfection or worthwhile of something like a Thai Scribe, which I haven't even got my hands on, but you can just tell it's quality, right? Or, you know, something like this. I don't know. Yeah, it sort of stinks to leave something on a note like this, but that's how I generally feel. So anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully it wasn't too much of a bummer or anything like that. If you did like this video, if you have any sort of questions, please go ahead and give a comment and like down below, as it helps, and I love fellowshipping with you, as well as a subscribe, as we're constantly trying to grow the channel. Of course, I appreciate you taking time to watch this little video, as there's so many other great content creators that you could have clicked on, and you've decided to click on my little channel over here. I really appreciate that. Of course, I hope everybody has a great rest of your week, and you take care. Peace.